And I had talked to Rob before I left, if he could be back up if my internet didn't work. So I don't know. So I don't know where Rob is because he was supposed to be back up. So thanks for recording, Wayne. Sheila will appreciate that. So I'm just on the agenda. I've just listed out all of our leadership here. And so for Rob, we had talked about the Operation Slick Rock that is being planned for March. And Wayne, Rob had mentioned to me that maybe we would want to think about possibly getting a COAD going, getting put together down in the Moab area with, I'm not super familiar with whether it's Walmart or Smith's or anyway, that was a thought, just getting that, if we could get any leadership down that way when we're down there for Operation Slick Rock. And any thoughts on that? Like, does anybody have any connections to in Moab? Okay, and Ken, is that region 5?
Oh, I'd have to check I think that is, yeah. And
Okay.
so the liaison would be our first choice down there, and I needed to find out who that is. But
okay, yeah.
The state liaison would certainly be a good contact there to help us get started. Sorry, I can't think about that off the top of my head. I don't have that.
And I can't and I can't either. I know there's 7 of them, but and I see their names all the time, but I can't remember either. So anyway, that's something we might want to think about as that's being planned. Jeff Mulcahy is the point person for Team Rubicon, and I was in a meeting a week or two ago, and it sounds like they're having meetings on Mondays, but I just saw an email from Jeff that until he has things nailed down with Team Rubicon, he's not going to have another one. But it sounds like what they had planned for last year, maybe 300 people, having it at the fairgrounds, because that's apparently the fairgrounds were built to be an evacuation center. So that's all in the planning process. And that's actually who are going to be our presenters for our November 11th meeting. I believe it's James Young from Team Rubicon. He'll be our presenter. He will not have information about UWEMA, but he will have more information about Operation Slick Rock. So,
Lisa, since I haven't participated in that previously, can you tell me a little bit about what this Operation Slick Rock is and why we will be going? And I think you said it's sometime in the spring, but do we have dates?
It's March. I don't have the dates in front of me. I believe it's maybe around like the 10th, and it's a week. We did not do it last year, Carrie. It was all planned and ready to go, and bam, COVID canceled it. So Team Rubicon are the ones that spearhead it. They had done some mitigation work down in Moab before. So the idea of doing this would be to have an exercise and bringing in VOAD partners and like Red Cross setting up a shelter. They would have soaring classes, which are chainsaw classes.
Yeah, sorry.
They would have ICS 300 and 400 classes, hopefully set up for anyone in the VOADs to take, or anyone in that region of Salt Lake or that region of Utah.
So we all go and spend the entire week there together and go to these classes. So we all have to ask our sponsor if they're paying for our hotel, or what?
We would be staying. I would believe we would be staying at the shelter at the fairgrounds. But if we talk our good friend Joeva into taking her like trailer camper, we would be sleeping with Joeva if she had room, because my back would not tolerate a shelter cot, if you will.
Okay.
but the UEMA, from what I understand, the UEMA conference is planning on holding their conference down there, which is a 2-day conference, the Utah Emergency Managers Association. And they
During the
would,
same time period?
they usually do theirs on a Wednesday, Thursday. So it would be during our week. So I need to get
And they're
details
going to hold it where?
in Moab.
So,
Well,
so we're
let's not be
going to
the 10th, because the 10th is a Thursday, so it must be a different day.
Okay, so Wednesday, Thursday is usually historically when, or am I right, Ken? Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday for UEMA to hold their conference? It's usually 2 days.
It's usually 2 days, but I'm not sure which days they're going to pick this year. Yeah.
And so Carrie, to answer your question, yes, we could ask our sponsors if we were going to go attend the UEMA conference. Our Operation Slick Rock is going on at the fairgrounds. And that's, that's the VOADs doing that with the emergency managers and all of that. And UEMA is their own separate conference that would just be down at Moab during that time frame. So they could come over and hopefully see what we're doing. So it's
So if we attended both, then we would be going back and forth between, I mean, Moab's not that big, so.
right.
All right.
So that's kind of the thought
I'm
process.
going to have to practice. I'm going to have to practice saying Moab VOAD fast 3 or 4 times in a row.
Well, if we can get those exact dates, then I think that would be really helpful for us to get it on our calendar.
Yep. And that's what Jeff Mulcahy from Team Rubicon is working on right now. And
Hey, Lisa.
Yeah.
I've got a email here with the dates. So
okay.
last time we went, it actually didn't start until the 20th. So I think it's a little bit later than what you said. That next Monday, because I know that the last time I went, it was on the 20th. The year before that, it was on the 22nd.
And I think this time they're moving it
1 week prior. So like
moving it
maybe
prior. Yeah, prior.
that 18th timeframe that week.
I think so.
That's a Friday. So would it start on a Friday and go to a Friday?
No.
Or would it start on a Monday?
It can start on a Friday because the Sawyer class starts on Friday. And they do 1 day of classes, 1 day of cutting on Saturday, and then everybody cuts on Sunday. So the only reason why we went to Moab the first time is because there was a massive amount of trees that needed to be cut in one location. And then once they loved us down there, they started moving us to different locations. So we've just been going down every year that we can.
So you think it begins on the 18th, Friday, the 18th?
It could, or it could start on the 15th, but these are just dates that have been thrown in the air during the meeting so far. I don't think it's going to be the week of the 8th. I think it's going to be the week of the 15th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do we bring our own chainsaws?
No, well, for Team Rubicon, no. But if you're going to be using chainsaws for a separate organization that's outside of Team Rubicon, then we'll give you a location to cut, but not with us. But if you want to cut with us, then you have to attend our training and sign up to be a Team Rubicon volunteer.
And then we use your equipment.
Right, and we have like the best, brand new steel equipment. It's the best.
Mm-hmm. That's what I have. I have
Yeah.
a new one. That's the kind of stuff I get for my anniversary gifts.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I have a really
Yeah.
nice new one.
Awesome. Yeah, I just don't like to take my own personal stuff just in case, because we have all these donated ones that we can mess up instead.
So when you're saying like a Friday, it's for those of us that are not experienced, we could take a class on the soldering and then just use your equipment, whatever.
Yeah, and also I plan on doing a Sawyer 1 class prior to that here in Salt Lake, which is actually better because classes are smaller, you get more one-on-one instructor time, and then you're qualified to use the saw immediately when you get down to Moab, so you can go straight out and cut. You don't have to be down there sleeping uncomfortably for a day for the class.
And you'll let us know when that class is?
I will, yeah. I'm setting one up right now. We have an event with the Salvation Army on this Saturday. And then as soon as that's over with, we're going to start the planning for a Sawyer 1 class. So I'll let you know for sure.
Awesome.
Okay, also, Lisa, just so that I'm prepared, what is the cost for this Slick Rock as well as the UEMA conference if we were going to go?
Slick Rock, I have no idea, having not done it. Again, we had planned it out. I got a grant from the church to donate the food. Salvation Army was going to cook up the food, and we were going to stay at the fairgrounds. So
Yeah, I can jump in on that part. I'm so sorry, but for Slick Rock, if you're coming with Team Rubicon, this will be a fire mitigation operation, so there is no cost to attend our portion of it. The only cost that may be incurred would be if you attend any kind of course that might have a cost, which ICS 300 and those, they're free. So there's really no cost involved at all if the Salvation Army provides food like they said they were going to last year. Thanks. Sorry to cut in.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. So we would only have to pay for the UEMA part.
And so I can actually call Mike McComb, he's UEMA's president, and find out exactly what their plans on and what days they're planning on going down there. And my guess is they would probably do a chunk of hotel rooms for UEMA at discount. And then Carrie, that would be you and Bill and I, again, would have to ask our sponsor. The conference is 150, if I'm remembering, for the conference and the membership for UEMA. Does that sound right, Ken?
Yeah, I think that's about right. Yeah.
I don't think our sponsor would let Bill share a room with us.
My wife just went, what the?
Hey, Lisa.
So, yes.
Whitney Coonrod, she is the liaison now for Region 7. That's the state's Region 7. Moab's in Grand County, and Whitney Coonrod is the new liaison there. I can send you her contact information if you don't have that.
Yeah, that would be great. And so it's Region 7, Moab.
That's the state Region 7. It's actually called it's Region 7.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great.
Whitney joined our last Region 3 meeting, and so that as someone who's new to DEM, so that was nice to kind of get to know her a little bit.
Yeah, she'll be good.
Good. And then I'll check with Jeff and see if they're nailing down the dates a little bit more from the Team Rubicon aspect. And then I just had asked Rob if he would like to co-lead with me in the meetings in 2020, the general meetings, when we're having those. And so moving on, Wayne. Wayne has gotten our YouTube channel up and running. You want to tell us about that, Wayne?
Yeah, just like the email said, there's a specific folder in our shared drive that if anybody would like a video posted to our YouTube channel, just drop it into there or contact me and I can help you put it in there yourself. It's not a difficult process, but the folder has to be downloaded to your computer or an external hard drive or to our Google shared drive. It's a little bit finicky as far as getting them uploaded all the way because they're large files, especially the last one, which was almost a couple hours. So let me know if anybody needs any help and I'll get those on there. And our website has actually has a link to the YouTube channel now too. So
Wonderful.
It's working well. Yep.
Wonderful. I did record our last Region 3 meeting and I would like to upload that. So I will need to contact you because I don't think I know how to do it.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think Rhonda just sent us an email that she recorded Region 2s, and it looks like she put it into the Google folder for Region 2. It looks like where she put it. So we can let her know if she wants to put that on. And then Wayne is continuing to do a fabulous job on our website. I did send out an email to Sheila to send out to our partners, and maybe with her husband being ill, she hasn't had a chance to send it out because I haven't seen it, but asking our partners to go to the website and check and see if their information and contact information is correct. And if they had any feedback, questions, to contact Wayne about that. So so thanks, Wayne. It's looking great. I did see you got the state meetings and times on there. And for our Google Docs, we've got 4 regions. I see that we've got a folder for region 1, 2, and 3. And for region 1 and region 2, I know they have contact lists. And so, that's the next step, is getting those contact lists cleaned up, maybe taking off any state contacts, making sure they're in the state, that Sheila's got them, and that what's in your region 1, 2, and 3 are contacts for that specific region.
Well, one of the things that I was noticing, and that Trevor and I talked about when we clean up our list, is some of our lists do have state people, like Ken, who attends not only the state meetings, but he attends all the regional meetings. And so I think we should still keep some of those people on our regional lists who want to participate on the region activities as well, because there are several people on our list that, although they represent their organization on a state level, they also then represent them on the region levels. And so I don't think we should just be taking everyone off all of the lists.
Good point.
But I do think that it's important that we do a once a year, clean up the docs and find out who's no, which ones bounce back when people say that they've moved or whatever kind of. I've been doing that as I send things out to region 3. If something comes back, I try to contact that person, make sure that they're no longer there before I take them off the list. But
good point. Yeah, I think that's a great point. And yes, appreciate that input. And business cards. That's something that Wayne's going to work on once we get our new debit card, our new account, and have all that set up and a way to pay for it. Then if we can all get if you all want cards, get the information to Wayne so he can do it in one lump sum order, if you will. And anything else, Wayne? From the
no, just looking at. I'm just looking at the Region 2 meetings. There's 3. Did you want me to call 3 of them on there? From the 24th to September. There's another one too. So there's 4 from August to November. Do you want me to put all of them on there?
On YouTube?
Yeah.
What's the consensus?
There's one
is that easier access for people to be on the YouTube rather than, in the Google folder?
I think so. I think if it's the recorded meeting, we can just, I think it's important though that we might label them Region 2 meeting and then have, title of what it's about, because no one's going to just go in and say, oh, I want to listen to a Region 2. But if it was Region 2, Team Rubicon gave a presentation or whatever, then it gives a title. It makes you want to go look at it again. So I think we should specify which region and then what the title of the topic is. And I don't know how to do this, but my brain says, I don't want to listen to all the business of the meeting. I only want to listen to the presentation. So can we edit them at all to just have the presentation part and nothing else on our YouTube?
That's what the fast forward button's for.
Well, yeah, I know that, but sometimes we chit chat. And
Rhonda did put on her last meeting that to get to the presentation, go to like 9 minutes in. what are your thoughts on that, Wayne? Because I don't, I mean, I don't want Wayne to have, I mean, Wayne shouldn't have to edit them all. But is that doable to like label them, Wayne?
Yeah, labeling's easy and editing them is easy as well. I have a program that I can splice portions out. Yeah, I'll see which way is easier depending on the security on the file that I have. I'll just have to check, see if I can do it.
Okay, awesome. Thank
I
you.
have one more thing that I wanted to remind Wayne, just on the new cards, not only our cell numbers, but then the Google number for everything so that people know.
Absolutely, yeah. And I know I think the lettering was a little bit too small on those, which you couldn't tell on the website, so I'll make them bigger.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
can we put the QR code on the back of the card?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, Carrie, tell us about your thoughts for the newsletter.
First thing I wanted to show you, got the badges.
Oh, nice. Oh, cool. Show
For
us one.
everybody that you sent me one, let me see if I have
Okay.
yours, Lisa, on top. I don't know where. Well, here's David's. I'll show you David's. So basically, they look like this. They're
Thank you.
magnetic, so they can come off. And if we need to change them, they're also reusable. This part clicks off and it's just an insert inside. So if you change the title or if you do anything, we can still have the badge. And I wanted to thank Rob. They sent the invoice to him. And so I have all of these for next time that we're in person.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that, Carrie.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
With regards to the newsletter.
And wait one second. And so Captain Rob of Salvation Army is the one who is paying for our badges.
Yes. Yep. And they, the company that I work with that does these, just sent him the invoice. So
Nice.
So
Any chance we can get them to put the badges in an envelope to us? Rather than wait for the camper next March?
Yeah, I could mail them out. I don't know how much that costs if we have a budget for that, or if I just have to pay for them individually. Or I could, next time I'm in Logan, I could just drive it up to you.
Oh, yeah, that'd be wonderful.
I don't know, or I'm in Salt Lake for the rest of you.
Yeah, who's planning on coming to our October, but I keep saying October, our November 11th meeting next week? Is anyone, are you coming in person, Carrie?
Well, I'm in charge of a really big gala that afternoon and evening in Provo with a few hundred people. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to be coming. It depends on how things are wrapping up. You know, the drive time to get there and back can waste some.
Okay, could you do some homework on how much that would cost to send those to everybody? And if it's, and maybe we'll do that and take it out of our,
Do I have a list with everybody's address? I don't want to say that I don't just spend all my time looking through our Google Docs, but
I don't know that we've got anywhere where we've got our addresses. So how about everybody send your address to Carrie, and then Carrie can do homework on what the cost would be.
Yes, that would be great.
And that will be for Sheila in the notes, to put in the notes, all of executive leadership team, email your address to Carrie, and Carrie will do some homework on how much it would cost to mail.
Yeah.
I might be able to bring him up.
Oh, yeah, I could give them to Trevor to bring up too, for anybody who's didn't attend in person.
Okay.
Because I do have an opportunity to see Trevor a little more frequently.
Are you coming on the 11th, Trevor? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I can plan on making it.
Okay, that'd be cool. And then we'll see who's there, and
yeah. I can just have him give them all to you, Lisa, and then we can kind of go from there, maybe.
Okay,
You
sounds good.
probably see people more frequently than I do.
Sounds good. Okay, newsletter, Carrie, go for it.
Okay, so newsletter. Obviously, I haven't put anything out. There's a couple of different things that we've been talking about, because there's content. I need to figure out what is our content for our newsletter. What do we want to put in there? one of the things is that we don't want to make it too long. People don't read things that aren't that are too long or have too much information in it. I would like to just use a template that I can just reuse over and over, like MailChimp is easy, but that goes directly to the email of individuals. Right now, Sheila sends out the minutes separate. I don't know if we would want the minutes being included as a link in the newsletter. If we would like some pictures, if we would like the links to some of the recordings, those types of things in the newsletter, we want to make it so that it's useful and engaging. And I'm kind of just wanting to get what your thoughts are on what would make you read the newsletter.
We want links to our YouTube channel in the newsletter.
Yeah. What do you guys, what would make you guys open it? I know all of you are like me, where you get a million emails every day and you sit there and you think, which one do I click on? And then you realize that there are a lot that you never click on, or you click on and you think, okay, maybe.
I click on the
So
ones that say win a free gift card if you do this. So put a $25 gift card randomly in there and I'll open it.
yeah, if only we had a sponsor for those gift cards, right?
Well, somebody in here will sponsor it. Ken's got money. William, Bill Tolbert, they can Roger up.
Hey, Carrie,
Yeah.
the UEMA newsletter is something that I've enjoyed. And sometimes they'll have a spotlight. They'll spotlight an individual, or they'll spotlight a program or something like that that's been successful. You might consider something like that. And then have somebody, just share their thoughts about VOAD or whatever. Just a thought.
All right.
But we have a lot of swag too. Team Rubicon has a lot of swag, like cool, Team Rubicon stuff. We'd be happy to give away if you want to get some people's attention.
Oh, I like that.
Are you going to wear that VOAD shirt I made up for you?
Yeah, Rob still has that shirt. He's holding it. He's hijacking it.
I gotta get my.
Yeah, hijacked it.
I've got to get my shirt to Bill. So I like swag giveaway. Our swag giveaway from our organization, probably nobody would take, but we could, we've got to look around and see if there is anything.
Yeah, I like that. And do you folks want to highlight individual people or highlight our partners?
Probably a mix, I would say.
Yeah.
With that though, do we want to have two separate emails go out, a newsletter and the minutes, or would we want to just send out the minutes as a part of the newsletter?
I almost think separate, because I almost think it's too much in one email, but that's just my thoughts.
That's fine. David, what do you want in the newsletter besides short?
Yeah, any information about what organizations are doing or participating in currently. And we do the reports at the meeting, and so I think just quick updates on what organizations have been involved in.
So maybe announcements or updates?
Yeah, just as we do the little clips during the monthly meeting saying, Team Rubicon's out here, or Church Scientology is helping over in these wildfires or whatever. Just some quick up stories that people have had from where they're at.
So I guess with that, I would need each of you to send me those updates. A traditional reporter, which I was in the past, would go and spend time finding all that information, and I just really don't have the time to do that. So if you have announcements or updates, I would appreciate it if you would send it to me. If there are calendaring events, we can have a section that has a calendar that would that just upcoming is this, and then we could as it gets closer, or if there's more details, we could put that as our as a lead story, kind of like thing, as just to give people information. I know, like, for instance, Ken, when you're going to have your Be Ready things in February, you know, we could highlight that with the registration link, stuff, you know, that's what I'm thinking. All right, then Lisa, is it okay then? As long as it is, how many people does the newsletter go to? What's our master list for state?
I cannot,
Is it less than 1,000?
yes,
Okay, because I think we can use the template for free when it's less than 1,000. If it goes over 1,000, I think it's like $15 a month.
yeah, I think we are well under 1,000.
Okay, I will try to get that set up. And is there a particular date we want this to go out every month? Like first week, right after our executive meeting?
Yeah,
Second
right after the executive meeting.
So I'll just put the second week of each month. That way it gets us to our and then if we have the link to our, oh, we have 126. Okay, then we're good. So if we send it out the second week, then we can also put the link to our statewide meeting that is on the second Thursday.
I like it.
Okay.
Well, we can put, yeah, that sounds good.
Right. Because our meeting's always the second Thursday.
Yes.
So if I can send it out, you know, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of that week, and if they open it, then there's the link right there, even though Sheila will also be sending the link with the agenda and the minutes.
Correct.
one
Although
way or the other.
we won't put our Zoom account on the website. Like, we don't want the Zoom account. We want it to go to invited people. We don't want the Zoom link to be out in the public, so because we don't want our Zoom meetings to be crashed. So if you have the link in the newsletter is only going to those that are on our list, correct?
Right, exactly.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
just the list that whatever Sheila has, that would be great.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Carrie.
You know, it's not just crashed. You don't want to get that compromised if that gets proliferated too far.
Yep.
Right,
Exactly.
well, and we can always request a meeting ID or waiting room, things like that. So we only allow those in that we recognize. I mean, how do we do it now with our Zoom?
Yeah, we don't have them in a waiting room because then somebody would have to individually let everybody in. There's not a waiting room. They just come straight in.
Okay,
But it's by invite. You don't come into the meeting if you don't have the link.
yeah.
Oh, and speaking of Zoom, Wayne is also going to work on that again, but after we had the bank account up. So that moves on to David, who I believe you've got a new account. Is that right, David?
They're muted.
We're waiting on the card. Sorry.
There we go.
Yeah, I like Mountain America because they'll print the card on site, whereas Chase Bank is actually going to mail me one. So I've got to wait for that card, and then we can go and use that to set up the post office box as well as the Zoom account.
And so is that bank account still at Chase then? You've just changed accounts.
Into a business account, but they had set it up originally as if it was like a Boy Scout troop, where it had, it was like a personal account, but where it rotated owners. So when the checks, the one time I've caught it was when I had to actually mail a reimbursement check to Habitat for Humanity for expenses they had cut. And I saw that the check came with my personal name and home address on it. And I was like, that's not right. Where's that? And so went in to talk to them. They're like, yeah, this is the wrong kind of account. You need to get all the signers in here. So right now they set it up as a business account. I'm the only signer at this point, but I would like to have you and Bill on there as well. At some point, we just need to go into Chase and add you to that. Just at the very least, the president, I think, should be the second
Yeah,
signer.
and Rob is vice president.
Rob, sorry,
Yeah.
not Bill, Rob.
Yeah, Rob's the executive vice president, yeah.
So, yeah, basically, not that you guys would ever need to be in there, but if anything were to happen to me, it would be easier if there's a second person on the account rather than trying to go in and get access without having a signer available.
Yeah. And so you said you're just waiting to get the debit card
Yeah, the debit card,
mailed
so
to
we
you.
get the debit card number, then we can use that to set up post office box and Zoom account.
Okay, perfect. And I think I had sent a text to you and Wayne that I was willing to be the keeper of the PO box. I still am. I live in Mill Creek. So
See, that's the question is that where do we set this up? And if we do, is it going to be moving every year to 2 years? You know,
Gotcha.
we're gonna get a new PO box every time we move, and it's been one of the difficult things with the organization is that your officers change, they change positions, you know, and so having a permanent location is what's
Gotcha. Where's the Chase Bank that you're using?
the one I've used recently has been State Street and about 24th South.
Well, and I think that's all right. I think the PO box being in Salt Lake, and wherever leadership is, there's most likely at least one of the leadership team would live in the Salt Lake area and have access to that box. It doesn't necessarily just have to be the president, although the president should have access to that material. But if it's the secretary or if it's somebody else, you know, I think that as long as someone checks it regularly, wherever it is, but it should be at a central location so that it can be accessed on a regular basis. And I don't know how many keys they would give out, but usually it's 2. But the treasurer and the president should technically probably have that access, or the vice president treasurer, so that they could get those statements if they're not. Most bank statements are electronic now, but they still send out some documents.
Probably 90% of what I deal with comes electronically, you know.
Gotcha. So
Sam,
so 24th and State. Should we just, once you get the card, find a PO box in that area, and then that makes it that central location?
that's fine with me. Trying to find the closest post office box to South Salt Lake.
Okay, sounds good. And then, and that's the invoices. I mean, is that something you need to wait on the bank account as well, or?
I wanted to talk to you about that. On the so I've got most of those together, and we can go ahead and send them. You said that they were cleaning up the mailing list. I saw in the minutes. And do we want to wait till the mailing list is cleaned up so we know who to send these to? So that's, you know.
That's a good question. And I guess we will get to that question when we get down to that part.
There was 2 questions I had on that. The one
Okay.
was the mailing list, making sure we had a complete list. The other was, when did you officially take over as president? Was it June, July?
It was July 1st.
Okay, so we're on a fiscal year of, or, you know, our calendar year as far as our finances go. You know, we do our taxes and everything are filed from January through December, but we do our dues and our president from July to June. And I'm not sure why. You know, so use one calendar and we invoice out, focus on getting the email list cleaned up and do it a January 1st invoicing for, you know, 2022 fiscal or dues.
So are you saying that's just how it has been done?
That's how it has been done, yes.
And so is there any reason,
Why?
what you're asking, is there any reason we can't do it the same as the fiscal year?
Change the calendar.
I would be down with that. Anybody have any input?
Yeah, I think that the leadership change, you know, July 1st to July 1st doesn't necessarily have to do anything to do with the fiscal responsibility. I like the January to January because that's when the taxes are. A lot of organizations are used to paying their dues in the first part of that first quarter. So I
Plus,
would say
if
that,
it's
yeah,
like-
let's do it.
When you do the invoice, you're saying these are the 2022 dues. These are your 2023 due, rather than saying this is going from July to,
Yeah, I say make it so. Let's do it.
so if you guys, I'll look at the count, if we can focus on getting the email list, and you'll talk about that in a minute, but, and then get that to me in December, and then I'll make sure I have invoices for all of those email addresses or the organizations on the email address.
Okay, perfect, perfect. And one thing that I had seen in an email that Rich Linford sent to me and to you, David, was talking about since we changed the leadership to reflect the regions to be vice presidents rather than the chairs, did we have to amend the bylaws and vote on that? I think is what Richard was asking you and I.
So, and I'm not a legal professional, that means, when I went to go to the bank, I was trying to find an approved set of bylaws. And I don't know that I don't know if anybody's been able to respond to me with an approved, voted upon set of bylaws. We've got drafts that have been sent out and looked over, but I don't know that we ever got together as a group and voted and said, yes, these are the bylaws, and signed and approved. And, Ken, do you remember ever doing that?
There was a set of approved bylaws years ago, but I think there have been some changes, and I think it'd be well to actually submit a set of bylaws and just reapprove them if there hasn't been any change, or as you were saying, Lisa, go ahead and make those changes so they reflect the present leadership titles and so forth. And I think that'd be a good thing to have early on.
Yeah. We get,
And so where would one get that from? Because are they in the Google Docs somewhere, or?
and I know Richard sent out some drafts to have people review. So, and when I asked him, before I went to the bank, I asked him, do we have an approved set of bylaws in case they ask me for these? And he said, no, all I've got is the drafts. And I'm like, okay, well, so maybe we talk to Richard and get the most recent draft that he had and have it
Yeah.
to you review it and see if there's anything that you think needs to be changed or, updated.
Okay,
And then, like I said, then we just, at the next meeting, vote and say, here's the bylaws as we understand them,
so is that something we'd have to do at the general meeting?
Right, and I think you would have to, since you're doing operational change, I think you would probably want to have a general vote on that as well.
Okay, I'll see if I can get the draft from Richard. Do you have any copies of bylaws, Captain Rob? Oh, go ahead, David.
I was gonna say, I'd have to look and see it. I've got a set in our folder on our hard drive here, but I think Richard updated something. I think we sent him to Richard. He went through and, as a lawyer, went through and made some adjustments and things.
Okay.
And he spent quite a bit of time on it, as I recall, but I don't know that it ever got sent back out for final approval.
Okay, I'll check with Richard on that, and probably it sounds like, next month is December, so probably that will be at the January meeting, general meeting. Okay, anything else, David?
No, that was it for me.
Lisa? Lisa?
Yes,
This is Ken. I'm gonna have to drop off. I've got to get ready for
Okay.
another meeting. We're planning the expo and I'm in charge of that. So I'm gonna have to drop off. Just thank you for what you're doing, and kudos to all of you for the great work you're all doing, and keep me posted. I'm happy to attend your meetings, and I'll keep sharing the feeling that I have with you about you to our leadership, our management with DEM. So keep up the good work.
okay, Ken, February,
25th and 26th.
okay, perfect, thank you.
And I just sent you Whitney Coonrod's contact information.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Ken.
Bye,
Thanks
guys.
for joining us. Okay, Sheila, as I said, is excused with her husband picking him up from the VA. Jalay, I got a bounce back from her email that she was out of the office. And so
Have we had any contact with the rest of the Red Cross in the state yet? All
I
right,
have not.
just wondering. I haven't either, so I just was.
Anyone
wondering.
else? Bill, up north, besides Michael Smalden?
I was gonna say, Michael's the only one I've heard from.
To answer your question, Carrie, no, I have not. I don't know if I don't know who Austin's replacement is. I don't know that they have filled the Morgan Funk Benet in Salt Lake County. So I don't know. I have not heard. Okay, Bill Tolbert, Region 1 Vice President. Do you have anything you want to report on?
Let me just make an input. I've raised the question of the Red Cross participation in the state meeting and regional meetings with Heidi, their CEO, because we need to have a consistent drumbeat where the Red Cross can report out all the changes that are happening organizationally. I know they got a new regional disaster officer. He's hired 3 or 4 other disaster response leads for different parts of Utah underneath him, and it would be good to get the Red Cross to come and brief, I think, the VOAD leadership on the structural changes that they've made. They've lost their public relations person, Cynthia, as well, who lived in Las Vegas. And now they have a new one coming in that's going to live in Utah, which should change the whole communications, public relations, liaison kinds of roles. So it'd be good to have the Red Cross come and fly the flag for us at least once. I had an unusual call this week from Davis County Search and Rescue. That they had rescued some homeless families that had gone camping in the canyon, and he wanted to know what it was that we could do to help take them off their hands. And I haven't had a call like that before. Homelessness we kind of know how to take care of, but search and rescue related homelessness was a little bit different. So I got him in touch with the new regional disaster officer for the Red Cross to provide sheltering and meal cards, short-term meal cards, until they could find a way to get settled. I also referred him to the other entities that we have that do sheltering, from Salvation Army to Catholic Charities to the Association of Governments. But I thought I'd just put that on the radar for people, because that was a one-off. I haven't normally had search and rescue sheltering requirements. Manpower for searching I've seen, but not that one. The airport, I was part of a replanning, emergency planning of Logan Airport's disaster response and recovery, which led to a wider area kind of relook, because unfortunately aircraft that come short of the runway don't land on the airport property. They land in developed areas. So that was interesting to participate in that. And I noted that the plan for that airport didn't have any mention or links to any voluntary agencies or notifications or outreach, because they were looking at it as a government response to a government facility plan. So that's one that if in your different areas, in our different areas, if we have the opportunity to talk to anybody in the airport operations area, it'd be good to find out what they plan on doing. I know when we had an aircraft collision in, I think it was Boulder Airport a few years ago in Colorado, it ended up being way more than the government side could handle initially. And they got a lot of our responding organizations involved. So seems to be a hole when they look at the Colorado aviation emergency plans. I thought I'd put that up on your radar as well. And other than that, I mentioned that Lucas Martin, our secretary, has got shingles and is out of off duty for medical reasons right now. Just everybody keep him in your prayers as well. That's
All right. Thank you, Bill. And I didn't see Rhonda on our call, but again, they had a meeting on this last week and she put that onto YouTube. And their presenter was Kevin McCauley from the state. And I believe his presentation was on COVID. And Trevor, are you still on with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you have anything to report for Region 3?
Not too much. We do want to get an updated contact list so we can have a good point of contact for each organization, you know, so we can get better participation in our regional meetings.
Okay,
So
awesome.
we'll get working on that list.
Awesome, thank you. And that's kind of what I have written here is coordinating with the present list that you have. And as Carrie mentioned early on, going through that, cleaning it up, keeping the people who are appropriate to come to the region meetings like Ken, but seeing if there's other people that need to go on the state list to Sheila. And
Can I run back to that question for just a minute? Because I almost spoke up when Carrie talked about it. The protocol is that the appointed representative for a VOAD is the one who tells us who their appointed person is for each region. And that's who we put on our mailing list. If we start taking, Team Rubicon's always done a great job, so I'm not criticizing them, but if you were to take a Team Rubicon and anybody that belonged to Team Rubicon all of a sudden starts getting on the mailing list, it creates conflicts over who's got the football, who's in charge, who's the first phone call, second phone call. So having the state roster with primary, secondary points of contact, and they are the ones who authorize us putting them on the mailing list is the way we ought to do it, not just we get an email from somebody saying, I want to be on your mailing list.
Well, and I think there's two different points to that. I mean, the point of contact is one thing, but sometimes being on the mailing list is about having information. So if there's only one person that gets the email, it might not get distributed to, you know, forwarded on to the rest of the team. Sometimes there are people that are assigned to each region, and other times there's one person that's assigned to the whole state. So I think, yeah, letting our partners choose which emails they want to receive, if they only want the state or if they would like to be included on each of the regions or which regions, giving them that option opens that up.
Yeah, I just want to clarify though, the primary responsibility for communication within Salvation Army, Red Cross, Team Rubicon, whoever it is that point of contact. So if there are people, rather than come to us and say, oh, I want to be on your mailing list, we should redirect them to your point of contact for your organization is. And I'm sure that they'll put you on their mailing list because you don't want to take responsibility at the VOAD part of the table for all of that communication. You need to work through the organizations. And I know there's been times where there's been renegade, for lack of a better term, members of different VOAD groups who, when they get the mail directly, they start the steamrolling effect before the primary person can sort through things. So we have to do it in the right domino sequence.
I think we need to know who's their primary contact for other, voting reasons, as well as, the invoicing. Who is the primary contact for each organization that I send the invoice to, and who we contact first when we have an issue or we want to vote. So.
Right. I think that's part of the clarification on if they are the state rep or if they are the region rep. And if they are the state, if their state role indicates that they are also the rep for the region, then we just have to note that.
Yeah.
One thing, Lisa, I wanted to bring up with what Trevor and I talked about, or in our last Region 3 meeting. One of the things that our the Region 3 partners wanted to do was maybe some tabletop type exercises. And we were going to do that on the region level, but there might be opportunities that we can do that on a state level as well, because we have some partners who are state partners, and it might be interesting. I think there'll be people who would be interested in those types of exercises. I don't know how many of you received the email yesterday or a couple of days ago. I guess it was on Tuesday from Wade Matthews. The DEM had a webinar. I was not able to attend with FEMA Region 3 to talk about staying connected with volunteer networks. And I don't know if any VOAD partners were included on that, or if it was truly just a DEM webinar, but I thought that was interesting. I got it kind of late after it had started, so wasn't able to go, but I thought that maybe we might circle back with Wade as either a presenter or that type of a thing to see what they would want to, how they would like to engage in with VOAD, and if they weren't even thinking about VOAD when they talk to emergency managers of how to deal with volunteers.
Yeah, I like that idea, Carrie. And James Ray with the state DM actually, they actually have something called Disasterville that I have, and it's a tabletop. So I know there are tabletops already out there that the state already owns, and so yeah, maybe as a region, but as a state. And I'm going to ask Sheila Curtis if they've been having different ESFs in the state EOC in their monthly SERT, SERT, State Emergency Response Team. I'm going to ask Sheila if VOAD can make a presentation, because she had Mike Moon with the VDCT table, VDCT make a presentation. I think a presentation from VOAD, because people are still very confused. Like there was a guy in that meeting and the whole time he was talking about VOAD, but he meant the VDC table. So Bill, if I can get Sheila on board, Bill, would you be willing to make that presentation that you had put together, that you've got your PowerPoint in a abbreviated fashion at the state EOC? If I can get Sheila on board, would you be willing to be our presenter for VOAD? You're on mute, Bill.
I'd have to go in there and smooth out a couple of the bullets in there, but yeah, I could do that.
Well, I need to ask Sheila if that's doable. I would hope that she would. You know, they've been having a different ESF every week do a presentation. So I think through our whole conversation that we've had with the state, I think it would be a great educational piece. So I'll ask Sheila if we can do that sometime in 2022. They meet on the second Tuesday of the month at the state EOC. They have been doing it virtually the past couple of months.
Okay. Now, is that the one in Taylorsville, or is that the one down?
No, this is one up at the state EOC.
Yeah. Okay.
Up at the Capitol.
Right.
Yeah, that's the Taylorsville is the ECC, the Emergency Coordination Center. But I think it would be very beneficial, because I've watched the way they've done it. They have each EF table present, and then they have a little exercise after on how can your group help this group. So I think it would be very beneficial, because I think folks are still mixed up that and think that the VDC is the same thing as VOAD, and we're not. So
yeah, interesting. When we had the FEMA folks out here, FEMA Region 8 and the EMI, they loved the way we operated the county here, and we had that separation of church and state in the EOC, and they were just thrilled the way we handled donations, volunteers, sheltering, and all the other critical functions, and kept them separated. So Yeah, we're on solid ground, I think.
Good, good. Thank you. So, yeah, Bill and Rhonda and Trevor, I think, as we're moving forwards, cleaning up those lists and getting them to David by December so he can get the invoices sent out in January and get on and get on the fiscal line for that. And Captain Rob, do you have anything, since you were at the top of the agenda and you?
Yeah, sorry, I for some reason put in my calendar as 10, like the meeting next week, and then I thought, oh, I better get the agenda ready and make sure I'm there for Lisa, and realize, oh, it says 9. So I had 2 new staff today, so that's pretty exciting start. So no, I just wanted to share a little bit that I did speak. It was behalf of the Salvation Army, but also I did a lot of talking about VOAD to the Aries Club of Salt Lake County last week. And that went really well. Lots of good conversation about VOAD, and then of course just some other stuff about Salvation Army. But I just want to let you guys know that we're just kind of out there spreading another way to connect. So yeah, the latest update on the Slick Rock Moab thing. I don't know if you guys got the email yesterday, but Jeff is not going to have the meeting next week, and the next meeting will be to be determined. I think there's some stuff being worked out in Team Rubicon, especially with some being deployed. So
What email are you talking about? I don't know if I
It's an
received
email that came to the people who've been attending the meeting, which are myself.
he probably knows more than we do, but I just know that Jeff sent an email out. So
Do you have a date? We were discussing that, Rob. Is there a
oh
date
yeah, yeah. Or do you know what that is off the top of your head, Wayne? I mean, I can look it up, but
No, he didn't.
Yeah, they're kind of, it's been up in the air. I thought it was
I know it's pinned down the date that it's occurring. Let me get that for you.
cool.
So Carrie, it's Jeff Mulcahy he's with Team Rubicon. He's also has been in emergency management for Salt Lake County. He was the former Sandy emergency manager, but apparently on the 15th of November, he's going to be the new emergency manager of West Jordan.
West Jordan, yeah. March 10th through the 18th.
10th through the 18th?
Yeah. I know that date, some dates went around, and I think that's where final settled. That was as of October.
So if we attend, we come for 8 days.
Yeah, trying to remember the schedule from last year. It was pretty much that. There was like a couple days of setup, or a day of setup, and I think a day of tear down in there, and then all the rest was work. Does that sound right, Wayne?
Yeah, you can come whenever you have training, or whenever you're going to be doing something. So if you were, like, I went down there for 3 days and not the 8 because I didn't have to attend the Sawyer class, and I just cut trees for 3 days and left. So you don't have to have a set amount of days.
Yes,
It can be specific to you.
You don't have to go the whole time, Carrie.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll know as it gets closer how soon will we know what the agenda is for those 8 days, so that we'll know which days we're attending.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to have to work out with our what we call our West Branch group. They're trying to figure out which organizations they can bring in for which days, because I know last time we had it to where we were going to have ICS 300 on Monday, or cut on Tuesday at the same time on Monday and Tuesday. So they'll have the whole thing flushed out once they figure out the West Branch and Jeff Mulcahy communication issue that's going on.
Right. And I know we'll be hosting some classes as well, and same thing. We're not quite sure what that schedule looks like either. But I know my leadership has been kind of working in the background to get the finances ready. The difference I know is, instead of looking at 3 to 350, we're looking at about 120 to 150. Is that what you've heard? That's what Jeff kind of told me last week. So
People?
As people, yeah. So basically Team Rubicon team people and, supporting staff for the event that's there. So
Yeah, and he told me 300 like last time. So I think that
Yeah.
this is just fluid and they're just,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be way less than 300. I think that that I spoke with them, if there was 150, that would be a lot because of COVID.
Okay.
yeah, he was thinking that we were just talking about that probably with like, the Salvation Army staff to feed and some of the other staff and other people probably be might close to that. One.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, we had to take out our heavy equipment training from that, so that was another 40 people that dropped off from the last plan. So
Gotcha. And so just so you know, Carrie, and I think Bill said he had to drop off soon. I was working with Rick Foster with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints last year and secured a grant for donated food that Salvation Army was going to cook up. So I've got to circle back, and it didn't transfer when it got canceled from COVID. So I've got to circle back with Rick and see if I can get another grant of donation of food. So Wayne, you're thinking more 150 people.
Yeah, did you want me to work with you on that again, Lisa, or?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and I'll talk to Rick and find out. I just
Last year, he sent us a request form.
Yeah, I need numbers probably.
Yeah. So that's kind of, yep. So because I know last time I got a form and I worked with my chef and we developed all that.
Yeah, and that will probably depend how COVID's gone and what supplies the church has currently and
right.
all the things.
But yeah, I mean, we'll have to kind of firm up, I guess, a little bit on the numbers probably in the coming days.
Yeah.
And from a
You froze, Carrie.
He's froze permanently.
Okay. Just so going down to the next item on the agenda, EOC training for our executive leadership team. If I was able to get Ray Thompson to either do it virtually or come to the Taylorsville campus sometime, would all of us be willing to, is there time that all of us could train for that web EOC? And Ray could probably do it virtually. I mean, he lives in Taylorsville, which is not far from the building. And does that work for either or, in person or?
Yeah, it would work for me either or. I mean, especially if it's in the morning, I live
Okay.
not very far.
I will check with Ray and see, and maybe that's something in 2022 as we're coming to the end of the year. But I'll check with Ray and see if that would work. And then our whole executive leadership team would have that web EOC training and give us a deep bench, if you will. So tentative meeting schedule for 2022. I'm assuming continue with the hybrid because we do get a significant amount of people attending virtually. And it would just be, where would that in-person part of the meeting be? And again, do we just see how COVID's going and whatnot? So I guess, and that was the other thing. Do we want to have a Christmas social in December? That's December 9th. If we needed a bigger location, I'm thinking maybe, Joeva would be willing to give us the Church of Scientology, or anyway, just thoughts. I mean, would people want to, come for a social, or are people like, no, I don't want to be around people? Give me some feedback.
It just seems to be like groups of people, certain people. Like I go to my Kiwanis club, and there's like one or two people virtually, and everyone's there. I'm in a couple of ham radio clubs, and the attendees are like 3 or 4 online, but then most people are there. So yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. But then if I go to something with like a government official, then it's like, oh my gosh, let's not get close to each other. So it just kind of seems weird to me. I don't know. A social sounds good, and I guess you could.
I guess I can't call it Christmas social, a holiday social.
I don't know. We can call it Christmas. It doesn't matter, right?
So do you want me to ask Joeva if we can do it at Scientology? I know they are sticklers about like defogging their building every day and.
Yeah, or if you want to, we'd be happy to host it here. We could put it in our bigger room, or I could even, our pantry will be cleared out by then. We could do it in our gym if we wanted.
Okay, I just knew you were super busy at Christmas.
Yeah, that happens to be like kind of one of those weeks. At that point, it shouldn't be too bad. So,
Okay,
like the
What time were you thinking, Lisa?
say again.
What time?
Same, 10, I think we're going with the 10 a.m.
Good morning.
Um,
meeting.
Or we could do 11 and just do it an hour, just, an hour social. I was thinking 10 just to be consistent with our new time change.
And this is just a social, the December meeting, having it as a social.
Yeah, holiday social.
What do you guys think?
I'm being politically correct by, by calling it a holiday social. Being inclusive. There you go.
Yeah, so are we gonna do it at 10 or 11?
Is 11 better if people want to drive to it?
We could maybe host more of something that has like food to it. If we did it a little bit later.
Well, you mean later in the day?
Like 11-ish, and we can have.
Okay, let's do 11 and
have food.
and bring food to share.
And that will be at your place, Rob?
It's fine. I'm just making it available. If we want to do it at Scientology, I'm fine with that too.
I know Scientology has the kitchen, and they've hosted us a couple times in the past.
Oh yeah, I forgot they had.
Just mention that to Joeva, just see if it's something they would be interested in, because I think they'd like to show off their building, so I don't think they
Okay.
mind. They've done it a couple times in the past, made lunch available and had the VOAD team come. So
I'll ask her. But yeah, so let's say 11 holiday social. I think that's the 9th, December 9th.
Yeah.
And then moving forward to 2022, I'd asked Aaron Titus to do our January presentation, but Rich Foster from the Utah Department of Health asked if he could get on to do the co-op plan for the state. I'm going to ask Aaron if he's willing to switch and do April, so Rich can do January. Ted Alenko with Jehovah's Witness is the CCJW disaster support, is doing February 10th. March 10th. Oh, duh, I have it written down here. I have March 10th written down here in my notes. Operation Slick Rock, but I do not have the specific UWEMA date, so I've got to check on that.
Just have our meeting there in Moab.
That's what their UWEMA is talking about, rather than
No, I meant our meeting.
Correct, yes.
Our meeting would be.
Our
there.
March meeting, correct. And then April, Rich Foster or Aaron Titus. May, I put naloxone, Wayne. had said-
Dr. Plum,
Dr. Plum, okay. Do you know Dr. Plum, Carrie?
I do. And let me see if I have her contact information with me. I
Yeah,
mean, I haven't talked to her for a few years, but
I've been speaking with her. She's amazing, but yeah.
Okay, so May, you guys.
Jen
wanna
Plum.
See if
Do
she,
you want me to send you her contact information, or Wayne, are you still working with her?
Yeah, I've still been talking to her, going back and forth. We're just trying to plug down a day that she's available. I
okay,
think
can
May is
you
probably
work on May for her?
right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she is amazing, and I've had her come down here and speak several times to different organizations.
Okay, awesome. So we are at the end of our meeting. Good job.
Can
Good job.
I throw one thing out there?
Sure.
Just on the PO box, not all PO boxes cost the same. Just pressing them out. It's about 134 a year or 106 a year, depending on location. Just want to throw that out there just so everybody knows.
Okay.
And
Where is it cheaper? Like the big Salt Lake one is cheaper than the smaller cities?
actually, the big Salt Lake one is more. It's 142 a year.
Oh, wow.
The one that's close to Lisa's house is 134. There's one that's South Salt Lake that's 106, but it's not a huge difference. And I wanted to let David know that I do have the national VOAD bylaws and as a template if you need that, or if we need to. I don't know if we have a bylaw. I just want to throw it out there too. I wrote that down, but I have a copy of the national one. Thanks.
Okay, so South Salt Lake, what's the address on the South Salt Lake PO box?
Got it right here. I'll tell you which one's cheaper. One sec. So there is one that is on there's one that's 2350 East Arbor Lane that in Salt Lake City that would be close to where you were talking about. That's 134. And then the one that's the cheapest one available is actually at sorry, just pulling it up. The cheapest one available is at it's actually it's a little north of West Jordan. It's in Taylorsville, 5495 South, 4015 West, Taylorsville. That one's the 106. But I mean, it's only a difference of like $20. I think maybe if we wanted to centrally locate, or the location that you were talking about would be worth the extra money. This
Yeah,
case is cheap.
like around State and 24th.
Yeah, right. And you can also do informed delivery, which means that before something is delivered to you, you can have it rerouted. If you do a USPS account, so it's going to our post office, you get a notification it's coming, and you can have it rerouted somewhere, so you don't have to change your address.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like David's idea and Carrie's idea of making it central, close to where the Chase Bank, State and 24th.
State 24th. Okay.
The only reason I wrote of that one is because it's not too far from work. I had actually an appointment with the one on Redwood, but then the banker I was supposed to meet with got COVID, and so they canceled that.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
State 24th is, yeah, State and 24th is pretty central to the valley.
Yeah, I've got that one here. There's just a key, just to make sure I said that correctly. If the PO box has a premium service, then you would never even have to go to the PO box, because you get a notification that something's coming in the mail, and you can reroute to your house or business or wherever, so you don't have to go to the PO box. But that's only if there's premium, and the one that's 106 does not have premium. The one that's 134 does have that premium service. Just
So
throw it
you're
out there.
saying, Wayne, that you can have that PO box, and whoever the president is can have it automatically forwarded and it would go to their home.
Yeah, it wouldn't be automatic, but they would get an email, hey, you have something en route, and then you just click on a button and you say, reroute that to my house instead of the PO box with the premium
Oh,
service. That's
I think
free.
that would be worth that 20
Yeah.
extra dollars.
Yeah, me too.
Agreed.
And of course, with the bank, you can go to any branch. You don't have to go to that particular branch, that just unless you are needing, a certain service, but there's several Chase branches around the state.
all over the place. So
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you, team. Good meeting. Good job. Sheila, I asked Sheila to send out the general meeting on Friday. And then if she could send the Zoom link out next Wednesday. And then our region folks, Rhonda and Bill and Trevor, can send it out to their region folks. And so
Do we use the same Zoom link every time? Because if I'm going to put the Zoom link in,
we don't have it yet, Carrie.
oh,
Yeah, with
no, I won't be
mine,
able to put it in the newsletter this
We don't
week.
have it until David gets the card and David or Wayne set up the Zoom.
Okay.
We do not, so
Yeah.
what is set up is Wayne's school Zoom account. So
Okay,
Well,
So
the
will
good thing
we
about
have one for this
the good thing
next
about
week?
this, the good thing though is that I can make a unique ID that would have nothing to do with my account if necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like I can make a unique ID that wouldn't even say that it's on my account, and we can have up to 250 people in the room. So, if
So
that's
would
what
you, Wayne, could you send me that link so I can include it in the newsletter, even though Sheila is also going to be sending it in the herd thing?
Well, do
Wayne's-
we want to blast out the YouTube now? Like Lisa was saying, it can get infiltrated in some way. And we can have a security code, and we can have somebody monitor and only let specific people in the group, in the meeting, I mean, but that's going to be time
But aren't
consuming.
we just sending the newsletter only to the people who normally would get the invite to the meeting anyways?
If we are, yeah, of course. Yeah, I've got the link right now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, everybody, and have a fantastic Thursday. And I'll see you next. We'll see you next Thursday.